You can support this show at patreon.com/ASAPodcasting. Welcome to a Skyrim Addict podcast, where I will discuss my adventures and misadventures through Skyrim. Join me. Add your stories, add your tales. Let's get into this thing. All right, we are back a month later. Welcome to Skyrim Addict podcast 151. I am Michael, and I am joined by Victor.
Good evening.
Ray.
Hello, hello.
And Steve.
Good evening, Michael. And I blame you for the month-long debate. You can't just leave the children to run the shop when you're gone.
I think I've been away.
No
I've been away most of those 4 weeks, to be fair. So there is that.
We tried. We really did. We tried to make one happen, but it just
scheduling in summer is tough. That's for sure.
You're the glue. You're the glue.
Yeah. I did get a little bit of Skyrim play in, but I also did a little bit of Skyrim coaching while I was away.
Wow.
Because Connor apparently has never played Dragonborn. In his hundreds of hours of play, he's like, I didn't even realize there was another island over there. I'm like, that's because you build a character, get to level 10, and then start over and make a new one again.
Gosh, I don't know.
Attaboy.
Hey, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, I'm like, where do you get that from, possibly? Have you been listening to the show?
Yeah.
I think he just does the, most of the time he just goes through and does the main quest. And builds a character, goes through it, and then starts over and does the main quest again. So that's his cycle. But yeah, I've been kind of playing through Dragonborn with him, and I haven't done that. I haven't played it in a while. So while we were traveling, I was kind of do that, and I played a little bit on the Switch as well while we were bopping around. But,
I just had this wonderful image of like you doing Skyrim coach videos. Like, they put you in a Dovahkiin suit, you know what I mean? And it's all very like, it's got to be sort of loud and insistent, like some combination between like life coach and drill sergeant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that would all spin out, but that's where my brain went for sure.
Yeah.
I love the drill sergeant part.
Block, swing, block.
What are you doing?
Right.
Go. Duck, fire,
The weight
go.
to carry ratio on that is too low. You put that down. That is poor looting.
Stop picking up all the calibers.
Actually, wow. There's all kinds of potential for that. That's a great idea. I love it. We'll have to do a Skyrim drill sergeant video.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I did try and
builds too. Put that into like everybody else's area. It's not just playing the game. Now it's how you make your character. It's like leaning over the shoulder of this poor like 9-year-old. So on and so forth. Yeah, that'd be great.
I tried to get him to record a Patreon video for me or with me, but he's like, I was like, oh, all right, whatever.
Well, it'd be fun. I mean, if he's into it, right? Just like it doesn't even have to have a camera on. Just put him in your lap, turn the mic on, and like have a little fun or whatever. Right?
Yeah, we could have just.
Well, it's his idea.
Yeah, well, then it'll be perfectly fine, and then I'll have to somehow make all of it happen magically, edit everything, put it all together, and somehow get him
a green screen.
Yeah,
Exactly.
the whole nine will have to happen. So we were recording for everyone. We were recording live on YouTube through Patreon. So thank you to all the patrons for supporting the show, and we do the live shows through there.
Indeed.
We have Adam and Frater joining us, and Michelle. And in the chat, sorry, I was just scrolling through the chat real quick. Here, the problem is when I have the laptop in front of me and a keyboard on my lap and a mouse, I tend to touch the wrong computer at the wrong time and think I'm moving. I'll go and touch the laptop keyboard and think I'm typing on the screen in front of me, which I'm not. So
nobody likes it when you touch the wrong computer. Right?
Yeah, yeah, I know it's not easy, but yeah. So I've been playing pretty much vanilla stuff because of traveling. So I really haven't had access to anything else. I was up in the Adirondacks
I saw the Instagram stuff. Looked gorgeous.
Very nice up
Was
there.
that a new mod? You put the Androidex in the game?
Yeah, I added them in the game. There is
The new Switch mod?
I wish.
No, that sounds awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, no cell service, very little Wi-Fi. So there wasn't much happening besides vanilla Skyrim on the Switch at certain points. But
It's nice to unplug, though. Nice to unplug.
it really
Mostly,
is.
Every once in a while, yeah.
Yeah. And
You want to
I
hear a very quick World of Warcraft story?
oh yeah.
Okay, so this is the reason that I don't really play World of Warcraft anymore. I went Horde, played a hunter, had a great time, really got into it, grounded this character out, made a lot of friends, all this kind of stuff. And then I'm sitting around some gorgeous like Sunday morning, like 11 o'clock, already plugged in, right? And it suddenly occurs to me, my father owns 300 acres of land. I own a gun. And I'm sitting in my bedroom pretending to be a hunter. I turned my computer off. I got in my truck. I drove down to Perth, which is about an hour away from here. I shot my lunch and ate it, and I've never played WoW again.
So you were playing Horde. So what did you shoot for lunch?
Small game. Small game.
All right.
I caught a small rabbit as it happened. So.
Nice.
You went and lived it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Instead of simulating it in the house.
Yeah.
Although there are advantages to WoW, you don't have to carry in your own toilet paper and all this other kind of stuff.
That's true. Everything's way more convenient for sure.
Yeah. And there are no gray items, I've discovered, really. There's no, when you're out there, it's all useful. But yeah. So anyway, sorry to knock us off into another game, but there you go. That's my favorite unplugging story right there. So
Unplugging's good sometimes. You get out there and have no choice but to unplug. When you have 10 people sharing the same Wi-Fi that goes down every 5 minutes, it's Actually, the only place I got service was when I climbed up the cliffs on the other side of the lake. That was the only place. And randomly, people would get service in the middle of the lake when they swam out there. So,
yeah. I spent their time up there, up on the Upper Regis Lake and Saranac Lake up in that area. It's nice.
Really nice up there, yeah. I hope to go up there again. And somehow we avoided all the rain that happened down this way. But, yeah.
It's reminiscent of Falkreath, in fact.
Very much so. Very much, yeah.
Yeah.
and I hear Ray has also been adventuring. I'm sure he did a full-on like Fallout feed.
Oh yeah.
But for those of us that don't believe in the post-apocalyptic podcast, we maybe get a bit of a Dragoncon review. I'm really curious about it. I've been waiting to hear this story for a couple of weeks now.
Yes, that's right. Dragoncon was what, a week and a half ago?
Yeah, Labor Day weekend. Yeah, it was a wild time. It was a little different than I've done in the past. They had a shortage of volunteers in the tech ops group, and so I ended up working a whole lot more hours than I had expected to. I was working 10 to 12 hours a day.
Wow.
Thursday through Sunday, and then took an easy day and only worked 5 hours on Monday.
Slacker.
Yeah. So, but it gave me just enough time to run over to the vendor stalls and pick up a nice 35 millimeter D20. So the thing weighs 2.5 grams.
Oh,
Nice.
So it makes a nice thud when you drop it.
Yeah, you roll that one last, right? So it can like knock the other dice to better results.
There you go.
You know, like what do you get? You get a 1 on your damage, then you roll the d20. Boom! Oh, there we go.
So I got put in into a ballroom that was having trouble. So I was able to keep the soundboard from completely falling apart.
Awesome.
And so I spent the whole time in that room. Still saw some interesting stuff. I had the science track was in there, and they have some interesting panels that they do. They did a Will It Kill You Jeopardy game. They did a fan interactive game called Does It Fart? And then they did a late night panel, which was science versus the movies.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I like
so
that.
that was all very entertaining.
Neil deGrasse Tyson's really good for that. If you're into
Oh,
that.
God,
he'll
yeah.
do like reviews of the science of various pop culture movies. I mean, whatever, take it or leave it, but interesting nonetheless. But did you see any good cosplay?
Saw a lot of great costumes. Didn't get to see as many as I wanted to. Usually, I work in one of the bigger ballrooms, and they have the costuming contest. But I was down in the basement this time, so I missed out on that.
Well, shout out to Lee. His pictures are pretty good.
Yeah. So I did bump into Lee. He came and visited me the one time I was in the room I was actually scheduled to be in at the beginning. So got to say hi, and he was there with his friend Lee. But it was a good time. Everything was great right up until Thursday night. I spent the day putting together all the different track rooms, and so a lot of crawling around on the ground, taping wires down, lifting heavy speakers, and so had to get back to the condo I was staying at to be able to get to jump on the Fallout feed on that Thursday. And so I take the train back to the part of town where the condo is, walk up the ramp to where I had parked to get all my stuff to drag it up to the condo, and my car was gone.
No.
Yeah. So somebody mistakenly had it towed.
Oh, jeez.
Well, that's better than the other podcast.
Yeah,
that's much better than having it stolen. But nobody was going to steal my car. So I ended up missing out on the being on the Fallout feed that night and talking about sandwiches.
Andrew's always going on about how you just send me feedback from the voice app on your phone. I mean, I would have just dialed in from my smartphone.
Yeah,
let him deal with the sound
from the back of the Lyft car on my way to get my car out of impound.
Oh,
we've had a few dial-ins like that over the years, and they never work out all that well.
Yes. So. Yeah, I think I tried calling in once on one, and it was like, oh yeah, this is going to last about 3 seconds because it's terrible.
Yeah,
it's funny though. You never know. Like one of the really early contributors to SBC was a guy who used the microphone on his Logitech webcam.
Wow.
He lives at a cul-de-sac on the top of a hill, and he would just wait till everyone was asleep, and he would just rip the audio off the video afterwards. And I was astounded. You're doing that with a webcam,
and it came out that cleanly. Wow, that's pretty good.
That's all right. Yeah, that's pretty good. So you never know. You never know what you're gonna get, right?
That's true. I guess if you have silence, you can do it pretty well with any kind of mic like that. If you don't have like a lot of background noise going on or anything. Or you're not banging on your keyboard or something like that. Because they get picked up pretty easily. But
Dragoncon's always a blast every year.
I didn't know you were working it, though.
Yeah, so I do sound in the ballrooms.
Okay. So it sounds like free tickets, but it turns out to just be a lot of like scraped knees, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely don't want to go thinking you're going to get a free ticket. Yeah, there's nothing free about it. And especially, I'm a desk jockey. I don't, this is the most exercise I get for the entire year. And so it's always a good time, but I'm completely exhausted. I still haven't fully recovered. I still have a little bit of rasp in my throat.
Yeah, Dragoncon's like huge for cosplaying. Though I noticed that. I think it's probably one of the strongest conventions for that.
Yeah, it's definitely a fan-centric convention too. We don't get a lot of the flashy stars or anything like that, but you definitely get the cream of the crop for great fan-based cosplay. And the thing I really love about it is, so there's a huge amount of mashup cosplay.
Oh, nice.
So they'll mix all kinds of different genres together into one costume, and it's always a crack up.
It seemed like there was a ton of Fallout ones from Lee's pictures.
Yeah,
but perception makes reality, right? Like, what's he going around looking for?
That's a good point.
Well, but so they do these group shots, and so there's a schedule that gets announced, and so everybody that's in a Fallout costume, meets at this one spot at this time, and all of the photographers and everybody are out there, taking pictures of all the different cosplay, and so that's how you manage that, and you get everybody in one spot, and so it's good times. And also, it looked like you might have had some pictures from the parade.
Oh, okay.
So they keep the the groups together in the parade too.
That makes sense.
He got a pretty good spot. Like top down. He didn't go outside, but he got good to close to a good window, I think, overlooking it.
Yeah,
there's some good shots in the group. For anyone who's curious, I think.
Yeah, I've always wanted to get down. I have a lot of friends who go to Dragoncon. It's like one of those ones I always wanted to get down to. But with it falling Labor Day weekend, it's always like,
Yeah, definitely a tough one. But they've got a great podcasting track.
Yeah.
And so, if we ever want to, I could definitely get us in.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Well, sure, because if they don't let your show on the floor, nobody's show gets heard, right? Just gonna disconnect as well.
I don't know what happened. It just stopped sending to the output.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, that's a good insight.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Gotta play all the angles, gentlemen.
That's it.
So there was a
world of podcasting. You gotta take every opportunity.
It's cutthroat out there.
It was kind of interesting. There's a podcast that was in my ballroom one night, and I think it's called Botched, and it's a D&D podcast. And so I thought, oh, cool, I'll check this out and see if there's anything that we could incorporate in 10AD. All it was 4 guys getting absolutely hammered telling a story. In an hour, I think they rolled the dice twice.
Oh wow!
Oh god,
that's a lot of actual play. To be honest, like I've dug through I've gone through a lot of the weeds to find some of the good stuff. I was a huge fan of that genre for a really long time, but that's a lot of it. It's a lot of like some guy turned his phone on, and they just sit around, they get drunk, and they like try to make each other laugh, right? Like there's a lot of dross. I mean, for the people that do it, great. It's more than I've ever done, but yeah, you really gotta work. You gotta work to find a good one, or you don't, or you could be a Patreon with Skyrim Addict and get an excellent one for free. How about
get
that?
10AD, yeah. All the 10ADs are they'll be coming out on the regular feed, but they're all, I believe, there might be one still has to go up on the Patreon. I don't know. Did mine pop up on the Patreon? Spoiler alert.
I've seen a few updates recently.
Yeah,
like Fartgate or whatever. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I mean, I was on a 10AD.
Oh no!
10AD. Yeah.
Now I have to.
You just spoiled it, Michael.
Now I have to.
Now we can't release this episode.
That's true. All right, everybody, forget that I said that. I'm gonna edit that out.
Well, and I have to make sure I listen to those before we start the next session so that I can remember what we did.
Yeah, it looks like it's not going to be until early October. So, because I think that's the next one Pat can make. So probably the first weekend in October.
Oh, geez, I have to schedule Oblivion Roundtable.
Uh-oh.
And Daedric quests.
Well,
You poor man.
I have started getting back to those. Yeah, I have started getting back to those because the character, anyway. Now that I'm home, not one that I could take on the road, unfortunately. So they went into temporary stasis of some kind. So, but I know. We were talking earlier, Victor. You said you had a lot of mod stuff, a lot of mod news yesterday.
Oh well, yes, I do. Sorry, I was just sitting here while you guys were talking. I was attempting to set up a stream, see if I could stream to YouTube while we were chatting, but I will hold that off for a minute. Yeah, there's a ton of new mods. I'm sure Ray has. I know Ray has tried at least one of the ones that we're going to talk about. I'd say probably the biggest news right now for me, anyway, is Ine Cheon's latest mod, which is really only available. Well, it's not only available for Patreon subscribers, but that's where he posted the link first. It's not on the Nexus yet, and it won't be for a while. It's called Winter Sun, and it is a religion mod.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that the last a while ago.
And Ray
actually,
posted a link to the to Centaurs. Was that you, Ray? I think, or was it Michelle?
No, I think that might have been Michelle.
Michelle, but you said you tried it, right?
Yeah.
I had seen the post code because I'm a Patreon subscriber, so I've been watching his posts over the last 6 months or so, and I think basically he's just sort of burned out, and he wants to take some time off, so he posted it as a work in progress. So it's not up on Nexus, but there is a GitHub link for it, and so I downloaded it and played with it. What did you think, Ray? I mean, have you played with it a lot, or?
I haven't been able to do a ton. I had downloaded the version 2, and then before I even got a chance to play with it, version 3 popped up. So I grabbed that.
Yeah. He took away a lot of the debug messages. It was kind of wonky. So I just happened to have started up a Bard character.
And so she's been worshiping Dibella.
So what are Dibella's buffs and debuffs? Do you remember?
I'm trying to remember. So it helps with speechcraft and speechcraft leveling, I think.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones that really stuck in my head.
Yeah, I'm looking at my. I was going to try to stream this, but I will in a minute if I get a chance. At which point my computer will probably crash and I will disappear. But so I have Skyrim loaded. I've been working on a character for the Baron Zaya quest, which I'm going to do a Let's Play of. And I've been building him up to level 20, which is where I want to start the storyline. And so I thought, well, I'm going to make a mod organizer. I'm going to copy the profile over in mod organizer and take away the original religion mod I use, which has been around for a long time. It's just simply called religion. I've been using it for a long, long time. But it's a relatively easy mod to take out of your load order. So I deleted that and threw in religion or Winter Sun. And so since this character is a merchant, basically, he is a worshiper of Zenithar. So here are the things that you get if you're a worshiper of Zenithar under Winter Sun. You get work ethic. So you learn smithing, alchemy, and enchanting 2% faster, and they are 1% better based on favor with Zenithar. The tenets of Zenithar. And each deity, whether it's a divine or a Daedra or some of the other ones, and he's included Sithis, Ephrae, and a bunch of others that are in the lore but aren't necessarily. I mean, Sithis is pretty cool. I don't know how many people who are going to listen to this really truly know who Sithis is in the lore. Sithis is another name for Padme, and Padme is one of the two original gods. They are the creator gods. So they're sort of like the twins of Rome. And Padme was chaos, and the other one was order. Anyway, so Sithis is in there, and a bunch of other ones. So the tenets of Zenithar are: invest in stores and merchants, seek out skill training, make weapons, armor, and potions, and never openly break the laws of Skyrim, which is a tenet of several of the divines. And then the blessing of Zenithar is able to improve items 10% better. So those are the things you get if you choose Zenithar as your deity. And I believe there is, as there is with most of Enai's mods, there is a quest-based, permanent skill or something like that you can get. I don't know what that is at this point. And I also don't know, since I have most of his other mods loaded. I'm assuming they're going to interact well enough.
Yeah.
We will see. But it's pretty cool. So far it's pretty amazing. Do you have to do prayers and meditations? Yes, you have to do meditations for sure, and your favor with whatever deity you are praying to, or so on, is based on how much meditating you do. That's very similar to the other mod, the one called religion.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I don't know that. Sorry, I'm answering a question out of the YouTube chat. But I don't know how all this works yet, because I really only just loaded it up yesterday, sort of as a precursor to tonight's podcast. I got it going. It took me a while to rejigger my load order. But
does it make the previous mods obsolete of that mod creators? Like, were there sort of previous religion-esque mods of this person that are now sort of obsolete or amalgamated?
No. This is Enai Sheon's first religion-based mod.
Okay.
So it works. It theoretically will work relatively seamlessly with all of his other mods. Mm-hmm. He's an incredibly skilled modder and programmer, I suspect, because his stuff is just seamless. It just sort of slots in and slots out easily. Even his perk mods. I mean, if you decide you don't like Ordinator at level 50, you just delete it, and it gives you back all your perks.
Yeah, that is true. Very seamless.
It's really skillfully done. So, whereas like something like Perma, if you delete it at level 50, you might as well start a new character, because your save is essentially toast. It might even brick your computer for all I know. But anyway.
So the thing to keep in mind, if you're going to become a follower of Dibella, you will have to meditate in the nude.
Of course.
Well, it's really the only way.
It's Tantra. We call it Tantra here in the Church of Dibella. That's what we call that. Yeah. Or hot yoga for all the hipsters out there.
Yeah, tried that. Didn't like it. Anyway. But yeah, so there's a whole bunch. I would love to try a Sithis based character and see what that is. There are some things that are not implemented.
Right? You got to go Sithis. If you're playing Dark Brotherhood, you got to be a Sithis.
Well, absolutely. Certainly with Dark Brotherhood, but various other things as well. So some of the stuff hasn't been implemented, but and we probably aren't going to see it until maybe spring. I would guess he's going to take a few months off.
Oh, okay.
And I think he just sort of burned himself out, and he's wise enough to know that if he tries to finish it, it's just going to be crap. So he's just going to
take some time,
put it out as it is now, take some time off, and reset, and come back fresh.
It's time to pick up some feedback from the people playing with the GitHub version too.
Absolutely, a little bit of that.
His vision, everything. I mean, I assume things will be smooth as usual, but just. What do people want to see in the final product, right?
Indeed, that's why he put it out, and that's one of the things he said was, play with it, let me know, keep in touch. And actually, there's another mod. Ray, do you know? Winter Sun Enai claims is about 80% complete, and there's another mod that he's sort of slotted in here, which is about 30% complete, and I've forgotten exactly what it is. It's something else he's working on, but I can't remember. Do you remember?
Yeah, this is the only one I remember from his posts.
Okay.
Isn't he doing like an umbrella combat mod or something?
No, he's
conversation with like the one mod to rule them all. I think he's working on at some point.
That might be, but he's already got 2 combat mods, neither of which I like very much. I use other combat mods, which
Vokir or Vokri.
What's that? Oh, is that
that's
okay?
mod that is listed here.
Yeah. What is it?
VOKRII.
Okay.
That's the one he says he has about 30% done.
What is it supposed to be?
It doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
It just names it.
Yeah. So other mods that have popped up. So Winter Sun works for both LE and SE, in case anybody's interested. So it'll work on whichever version of Skyrim you're playing.
Okay.
Of course, it's not going to be available for consoles.
No.
But I have been playing with a mod called Skyrim Unhinged recently, which came out about maybe a little bit under a month ago, maybe something like that. And it's pretty cool. It adds a lot of custom placed enemies in places you're not expecting them, like hiding in dark corners of Bleak Falls Barrow and things like that. But it's not just that. It adds randomly generated doppelgangers, which is freaking awesome. So I killed myself the other day. I went through what's it called? Chillwind Depths, which is a mushroom hunter's mecca. And right outside of it, I don't know whether it was which mod generated a bandit camp out there, because there usually isn't one along that road. But there was a bandit camp where there's normally just a fisherman's camp, and it took me a while to kill everything in there. And when I went over and looked at the dead bodies, one of them was me, my character, and so it generates your own character doppelgangers, and the doppelgangers that it generates are generally twice your current level. So if you're level 10, your doppelganger is going to be 20. And it also generates doppelgangers of named characters in the game. So when I first started this particular playthrough, I had this mod loaded. The first thing I ran into as I left Whiterun to go take on Halted Stream Camp was Carlia amongst the bandits at Halted Stream Camp. And I'd forgotten I'd loaded the mod. I'm thinking, what the hell is she doing there? And she was attacking me. So I thought, okay, well, fine. I'll try to kill her. And I killed her, and she turned into a little pile of dust. So she was a doppelganger of Carlia, and she dropped some pretty sweet loot too. So it's a very cool mod. I would recommend.
I got a whole list of people I'm hoping to kill now.
Exactly. So
NPCs with their name on the list. Boy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have so far killed Carlia and what's his name, the Dawn Guard guy.
Isran.
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 I've killed Isran. I've killed several other named NPCs, and they all turn out to be Niol. Who's the house Carl you get if you get Valindral Hall? I forget her name. Killed her.
Rhea, maybe.
No,
that woman.
Rhea. That's Lakeview Manor. And that actually ties into another mod I want to talk about. But anyway, I've killed a bunch of so Skyrim Unhinged, also available for Legendary for Old Rim and New Rim.
So back to Valkyrie real quick. Michelle in the chat said on Reddit. This is from Reddit. It would be great if an existing Ordinator save can be upgradable and continued using Valkyrie. So apparently it is a smaller, more vanilla perk overhaul.
Yeah, that seems like a good idea. A little more streamlined than Ordinator.
Yeah.
Although I'm so, the only thing that I'm going to, and I did want to mention this. I don't know if any of you guys, either y'all on YouTube or you guys here in the Hangout have paid attention at all to a YouTuber by the name of Belmont Boy, who has been creating this thing he calls Ultimate Skyrim. He's been working on it for 2 or 3 years now, and it's a Requiem based mod pack basically.
Oh, wow.
But it's more than a mod pack. He's got other developers working with him to create a fully fledged set of patches and changes to the game.
Like a total conversion mod, basically?
It's not really a total conversion mod, but it is a lot of very thoughtful changes. I'd say look him up. It's Belmont Boy is his YouTube name.
Yep.
I've been supporting him on Patreon for a while. A lot of really good ideas. Anyway, so for me, anyway, that's the only other, perk overhaul I would give a shot at would be that. And beyond Ordinator, I don't think I'd want a simplified version of Ordinator, but I'm glad he's making one. I mean, if I want a simplified version of Ordinator, I'll just go vanilla.
I don't know. I might be comfortable with some kind of middle ground there.
Yeah.
I find like I look at Ordinator, and I just feel like it's peanut butter syndrome, right? Like
you want everything, and you want the uncapper so you can get more perks per level up and everything. Yeah, I agree. You're right. But there's the nice thing about it is you don't have to have them all, and you can do a concentrated alchemy sneak.
Yeah, you can do very specialized. Yeah,
or whatever, and really work up the trees that you want to work up, but yeah, I have the same feeling, sort of kid in the candy store kind of thing. Michelle is posting a little bit of the Ultimate Skyrim thing. His first version of it, which he posted on Nexus last year, I think maybe early last year, did not receive great reviews. And he sort of stepped back a little bit and went away for a while, then came back. But he's working really hard on it. And he's a very earnest guy and very open, and he does lots of developer videos. You can watch some of his videos that he's posted on YouTube now and see where he's at with it. He's definitely a marketer, but a lot of the stuff he's talking about is really interesting. So,
was there some shock for people there with his first run on this? Because I understand Requiem really changed the game, up the difficulty, in substantial ways. Like you really have to play Skyrim different if you play Requiem.
Completely, yeah, because it unlevels the world.
Sort of weren't prepared for that. They thought it was just going to be a basket of goodies.
No, I think it was more that people saw it as, because it came close on the heels of the whole paid mod controversy, and so it's a mod pack, and so there's some controversy about who has permission to do what.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
And who has permission to load and download. So. But he's worked around that, I think. Anyway, it's worth checking out. And yes, Requiem does make Skyrim a much more difficult experience in a lot of ways, because it de-levels the world. So you can't just at level 1 take a romp through Bleak Falls Barrow and kill everything, because it'll wreck you.
Yeah. See, that to me is fascinating, though, because that's the one thing. Like I've squawked about this before in relation to certain RPGs, but I kind of don't like the idea that the world's always scaling to you. You know what I mean? Like there should, there's something to be said for just Bleak Falls Barrow being of a certain difficulty and other places being of a certain difficulty. Like, yes, I mean, you can go somewhere too early potentially, but I feel like a lot of the time, you're kind of at level all the time. Like no matter what difficulty you're on, blah, 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 it keeps pace with you, right? And
you can play it both ways. I agree. I've played with Requiem and I've enjoyed it. I know Colin did a couple of or at least one very long Requiem playthrough. Yeah. He really loved it. And Requiem has a tendency. It's one of those things where when you start out with it, it's extremely difficult, and then you reach a plateau at a level where you sort of flip over and you out level a lot of stuff, and so
There's a case for that too, though. I like that concept. Like, eventually, if you're Lancelot, like, you should just be wrecking face. Like, like, come on. I have the power of the old gods. I'm riding a dragon. That bandit shouldn't be a fair challenge anymore.
Yeah,
or whatever, right? Like,
yeah. No, I think that's the idea behind it. But the whole idea behind this Ultimate Skyrim is that he's used Requiem as a base, but he's taken things beyond that quite a bit. And some of the stuff that he's talking about doing is fascinating. So some of his stuff, complete crafting overhauls and stuff like that. So a lot of it is there's a lot of really cool ideas in there. So definitely worth checking out.
And the Hearthfire mod, you were going to segue to something about houses. Let's not forget about that before we carry on.
Yeah, I actually made a video about it yesterday, and then decided not to upload it. But it is called Lakeview Manor as It Should Be, and I have you seen it?
Yeah.
It is awesome. Ray, have you checked it out?
No, I saw it listed, but I haven't downloaded it yet.
Oh, do download it.
I'm sure there's some pictures in the group from somebody.
Maybe there were. Maybe I missed
asking for a name, but anyways. Sorry.
Yeah, it is just superb. I would say anybody who's working through a mod manager or knows how to use the console, just create a character, go in there, give yourself everything, lots of money, lots of materials, and load that mod and just build a house and go and bask in it. It is just gorgeous. It is so beautifully done. And it's I can't say enough good about it. And it works. I've worked it to my Baron Zaya storyline.
Oh, okay.
But so you'll see it on my videos when I start posting them. But it is great. So
does that impact all the purchasable houses? Like maybe not the ones in towns, but does it affect all the
she only redid Lakeview Manor, and I believe that was almost 2 years ago now. So the chances of her redoing the other two are slim to none, sadly.
Yeah, I built a character that went back and did a house. I did the one that you get in Morthal.
That's a Winstead.
Yeah,
Winstead Manor. Yeah, that's actually my favorite of the three. But
I like that location.
Agreed.
The access to South is nice too.
Yeah, well, and I regret the fact that I got that house, Carl.
He's a bit of a knob.
I have the best story about this guy. He has a mod-related story, right? I had some like immersive armors or something similar, right? And there was some. Sorry, Ray. I'll give you back in a second. But the punchline is, for whatever reason, every time he would exit the house into the yard, his armor would come off of him.
Yes.
So I would randomly come home and this guy's in his underpants chopping wood,
sounds like
amazing a lake. Like, I mean, think of the worst house Carl ever. Like, put on some pants. Like he's like, like your drunken uncle, basically. You know what I mean? This guy.
That's amazing follower tweaks.
I had children, people. Right?
Yeah.
He has no respect.
It has a tendency to do that on the way in and out. It can cause some embarrassing situations if you happen to be using a certain body mods like CBVE or other male enhancement mods. Yes, especially if you're live streaming on YouTube, as happened to me once. But otherwise,
I feel like I get a 404 error now if I went looking for that video.
Yes, you would. But yeah, EFF doesn't seem to do that. But for some reason, AFT has a tendency to undress NPCs on the way in and out of, particularly Hearthfire houses. So a little sort of a preview of this character. His name is Hannes Torbjorn, and he comes from a merchant family, and their estate is Lakeview Manor. So I have built Lakeview Manor ahead of time so that it would be his estate.
Okay.
So and his story is going to essentially begin there, But yeah, it's a superb mod, and it's really named appropriately too. It really is as it should be. Now, one warning about it is you have to do the same old thing. You have to buy the property, et cetera, but you can only build it one way. The mod author gives good instructions on what to do and which additions to build, and you have to do it in the correct sequence. And then she gives you the opportunity to make a few things. So you build the additions, and then you go in and craft a few sconces and some barrels and chests, and that's about it. Everything else is furnished and placed custom.
Mm-hmm.
So you're assembling a Lego set, basically. Like, it's a really good Lego set.
Kind of, yeah, but it's a really super Lego set. I mean, you build the alchemy lab, the bedrooms, and the kitchen, but they're not placed where they would normally be. She's completely remodeled the entire structure. The alchemy lab tower, the downstairs of it is on the back end of the house where the kitchen is, which is huge. It looks like a professional kitchen. There's a freezer in the storage area. It's the bedrooms are awesome. She's got 2 children's bedrooms with the cutest kids stuff you've ever seen. I mean, it's just awesome. One of the beds is a boat.
Yeah, for a pirate theme room. I was going through the screenshots.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. It's just amazing. The work that was done. Not all of the textures and models are hers. She gives a big long list of people whose work she's used and stuff. There's murals on the walls, beautiful rug textures. The master bedroom has a fireplace with pillows and furs and a bottle of wine and some glasses. It's just, it's just great. It's so good. So I love it.
I forgot how many goats had to die to furnish a hearthfire house.
A lot.
A lot, yeah.
A lot of goats have to die.
Yeah, but I happen to be very fond of roast leg of goat, so that's okay with me.
Yeah, you can never eat that much goat in a single playthrough.
I can.
Play a Bosmer. Then that's the only choice. Goat
Yes,
is the only
true,
thing on the
yeah.
menu. Just be a Bosmer. You're good.
Yeah, the Bosmers are dull. They don't even like curry. You got to have curried goat.
Spices come out of the ground. We don't kill things that grow out of the ground, sir.
Yeah, excuse me.
That is true. Got to be Lord
Salt's
friendly.
okay though because it's just a rock. You just grind it down.
Yeah.
That's
Salt,
true. Yeah.
Salt and bear bile, right? Yeah. So what else? Let's see. Other mods. We were going to talk about mods, so I'm trying to think of some of the other ones I've been playing around with. Anybody else got new mods they've been playing with?
Yeah, not too much new. I did with this bard character, I did the play a bard, so that's been pretty entertaining.
That's fun. Yeah. Did you use Ordinator as well? Because that Ordinator has a really nice bard branch on the tree. Yeah.
But that one you can only do once a day. The perform.
Yep. Yeah.
So,
Have you taken the option to upload a custom songbook?
No, I didn't.
I used to get a lot of laughs out of that. To be honest, play these ridiculously inappropriate, not in terms of language, but just why would you be playing Rage Against the Machine to a Jarl or whatever? Just stuff like that. I used to get a big kick out of wildly inappropriate songs.
Yeah, so I haven't performed enough to be worthy to perform for a bard or for the Jarl, but I'll get there.
I thought
that's got really good payoff if you haven't become a bard before. That's really good. It's well worth it, and you can kind of grind it a little bit if you want to. You can get a few performances in.
Yeah.
I thought if you went high enough up on the skill tree, you could get more than once a day, but I guess.
Well,
not.
I don't know. I'm still pretty early in on this character, so
Yeah.
And I hadn't done the Bard's College in so long. I thought that it'd be fitting to do. Although this character, is purely a bard, so she doesn't, she doesn't wear armor or anything like that. So it was definitely, I've killed a few followers.
There's a nice new set of robes that just popped up on the Nexus the other day called Creed robes. They're really nice looking. They are, I believe they do have armor rating to them.
Wow.
But it's a really nice texture set. if you want to check that out.
Yeah, I wear regular clothes during the day, but then I wear a tavern outfit to perform in the inns at night.
Of course,
should increase those tips. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you go down like a magical path for your bard? Like I'm thinking in terms of D&D, right? Like they're always sort of the rogue, mage, maybe a little bit of fighter in there, but like a bard is sort of.
She's more like, oh my god.
So body style bard.
Oh, just without the CBBE.
So you're just straight up entertainer, like you're just following your companion through a dungeon, letting them do the work, and like cataloging their.
She does do healing.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So she supports in that way, but it's definitely hard on the followers.
That illusion's always a nice fit for a bard, though, right? Like, again, you think sort of D&D, the idea that you would perform over various iterations of the game. Your magic is often buffing. Your performance can boost your friends and stuff like that. I've always felt that, like, I played a couple of bards. I quite like the Bards College, but yeah, I always thought the illusion school, it's always good, but it really kind of fits that, right? And just little stuff too, like you throw up like a candlelight or a mage light or something on the floor when you're performing, right? And you just. It's just for your own immersion, I guess. But I found there's a lot of neat ways. Although I guess those are alteration spells, but the illusion in particular, I thought was a really good mix with the bard for that support role.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so to have any hope at all of leveling up, I've got Kato's recital ready. So anytime she enters into battle, she gets 50 points of healing, muffle, and stone flesh.
Oh, nice.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That is available on both PC and Xbox One, as I just checked. I think Andrew's played it before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't use more of that for his Bard's College playthrough.
I wonder if it wasn't available then.
It may not have
on Xbox. It is. Don't let them know.
I've always enjoyed Become a Bard. I think it's a great mod, but you can get down this rabbit hole of just like going around in circles and like grinding your performances out and stuff like that. And it's neat though. I mean, and there are nice certain tweaks in there. Like you can choose whether or not you want your performances to improve your speech skill. So that to me seemed really good because again, like you're out there, you're moving around. I think like your side hustle as a bard could be sort of merchant related stuff, because you're constantly traveling anyways. So if you're getting for a more immersive playthrough, the idea that, maybe I buy some cheap meat over here at Haunting Brew, get it at the warehouse, and then I take it somewhere else. And, I liked the ability to improve my speech as I was going as a way to sort of approximate this idea that maybe, I'm making a little bit of money on the side doing other things as well, Or you should become more persuasive the better you get, right? Like, I mean, like Paul McCartney was a lot cooler 5 years after he started being a Beatle. Like he wasn't so cool in the basement, but he got better, right? So on and so forth.
Yeah. So one thing I did find out is, it's really hard to find an instrument.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, you see them all around. Yeah. I mean, to find one for free. Because, I mean, I wasn't making a ton of money to start out with.
True.
And so, so I finally found one. What's that place called? It's the one where you got the blind man at the entrance to the cave.
White River Watch.
White River,
you get the two-handed gauntlets.
Oh yeah, there's a
loot just before you get to the wolves.
Yep. Yeah,
you can thief one out of Dragon Reach, I think. You can probably get one of any instrument in Dragon Reach, just for someone who's played. I feel like that's true. I could be misremembering, but what do you like? What do you think of the Wanderer's loot?
So I made the Bard's loot, and as far as I could tell, it was the same thing.
Oh, I may be misremembering the name, but I like being able to sling it on your back once you've made it, and you can put a buff on it, which I think is nice.
Well. So that's we haven't started enchanting yet, but I just hopefully I'll remain interested enough to get a little bit further down the road. But I'm already working on a couple of other ideas.
Of course.
So as soon as character or the Couch Warrior put out his new series, Dark, was it the Black Prince?
Black Prince, yeah, I've been watching that. It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah. So of course, as soon as I see it, like, wow, I have never ever done much with alchemy. I mean, really, the extent of it is, Blue Mountain Flower and Hanging Moss.
That's pretty expensive. You can make a lot of money that way.
Yeah.
And then, the other thing I hadn't done is I haven't played a Argonian since like the third character I ever made.
Oh, wow.
And so with the Imperious races, you get a bonus for finding underwater chests. And so it prompted me to swim around Skyrim and find all the hidden loot.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that series. It's for me anyway. It's a lot better than this last one because I like his narrative style rather than his full on voice character.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I agree. I've done a lot with alchemy over the years, particularly with a mod I know I've mentioned before called Alchemy Redone. It's been out forever, and it's very compatible. But that new Couch Warrior series got me interested in a mod called Sky Toxin. Have you tried that? He's using that in his playthrough.
Yeah, I saw him use that and thought, nah, I think I'll pass.
Oh yeah, no, that's awesome. I have it right now. I'm about to load it into a new character and give it a try. What I like about it is that the poisons aren't craftable. They are only available through the level lists. So you have to buy them or find them, and some of them are incredibly powerful.
Yeah, they're definitely some cool looking stuff there.
Yeah.
So then the other thing I didn't realize that kind of got me thinking about doing another character is that I didn't realize that in I Need, you can get drunk.
Yeah, you can set it.
Like falling down, blind drunk.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's going to need another character.
I'm thinking like some sort of Khajiit version of Jackie Chan's Drunken Master.
Oh, yes.
Stick with the one-handed combat, get the pugilist gloves, all that sort of stuff, and then just tie one on and get out there and swing wildly for the fences. You think you're amazing, but
By the way, a little bit of mod mechanical talk. Anybody who's playing in special or in the SE version of Skyrim and has been trying to use I Need, until recently, it was kind of gimped. If you were using Sky UI, the menu system didn't work very well, and you had to use the other, the powers version of it. Somebody has come out with a patch, and I don't have my SE mod organizer loaded right now, but look it up. There's a new I Need version of I Need that's patched so that the menus work better. You can actually use the MCM with it in SE. So check that out. Sorry to throw that in.
That's such a bedrock mod for a survival Let's Play.
So. It absolutely, and it was not working very well in SE.
Well, that's why I went with Grandpa's "If it ain't broke, don't fix it" system and just never upgraded. I'm just legendary, I
stick with legendary too
game.
because
whatever.
Frankly, I
Legacy.
think it still looks better. Legacy. Sorry. To me, I cannot make SE look as good as I can make my Legacy version of Skyrim look.
Oh, okay.
So, ENBs don't work quite as well. Parallax doesn't work at all in SE. It's not as stable, but it still looks better. And there's still a lot of great mods that will never appear in SE, like Trade Routes, and a few others that are Trade and Barter, complete, alchemy and cooking overhaul. A lot of these mods, you'll never see them.
Never
in
get
SE.
ported over. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I agree 100%.
Michelle has been playing with Amorous Adventures.
I was just looking.
He said some of the quests are hilarious. No animations, just black screens and pop-up windows with funny text.
Well, I believe, is this true, Michelle? You need the Sex Lab base mod for that, do you not? Or am I wrong?
We've just tipped over into the E for excellent rating for this podcast.
Yeah, sorry about that. Well, I mean, come on.
But I'm teasing.
I can say sex without being adult.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to download it from that other site, which we won't mention. Yeah.
You can find that on your own if you like.
Yes, you can find it on
I'm
your
sure
own.
you can find it. Michelle says no.
So you don't need that. Okay, I thought you did. Okay.
Does your character transform into Leisure Suit Larry as you're playing the game?
Right, I was thinking that too. Yeah. So just briefly, Adam is asking if there was a rating on this show. My response will be 5 stars on iTunes. That is the rating for the show. That is the rating.
Leave a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah, the comments can be as bad as you want, but as long as it's 5 stars in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what's said below it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to tackle it, though, with the pop-up windows and text and all that. That's kind of a fun way to do it. Kind of a cheeky way to do it, I guess.
Yes, definitely.
I think that's in good spirits. Was that on SE or Legacy, though? He said he's back on Legacy, so I wonder if that's on Legacy.
Well, I know Amherst Adventures is available for Legacy. I really don't know much about SE. I've actually been trying to build up a new SE mod list recently, but still having bad luck making it look the way I want it to look.
Yeah. It is on both. It is on both.
And there are a lot of good tutorials out there for converting mods from Legacy to SE. So if you want to, especially mesh and texture mods.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm pretty spoiled now with Vortex. I mean, I don't pay any attention to the load order at all.
Wow, really?
I mean, nothing. You activate the mod, you see the little screen activate, and you hit play.
All right, so tell me, I mean, and we have gone over Vortex in the past, but it's sort of diving slightly deeper. So here's an example. So in particularly in Legacy, if you're using, let's say, here's a series of mods. You're using Static Mesh Improvement mod, Skyland, or Sky Mills and Skyfalls, Realistic Water 2, and ELFX. Those 4 mods, and let's throw in, say, Ruins, Clutter Improved, and Cutting Room Floor, and a couple others. Those mods are very dependent in the left pane order in Mod Organizer, and also the order in which if you're using Nexus Mod Manager, the order in which you install them, because ELFX has to come after SMIM, and Realistic Water 2, I believe needs to come before it, and if you're using Enhanced Blood Textures, that has to come before it. So I don't want to get too technical, but how does Vortex handle that? Does it tell you what it's doing, or does it just simply do it for you?
It just does it for you. So the only thing it'll tell you is if it sees 2 mods that alter the same asset, it will ask you, which one do you want to load first, which one do you want to load second? And so you tell it, who has priority, and then it goes from there.
But as you well know, I mean, you can have strings of priorities. So you might have 4 or 5 mods, and you load them in a particular order because you want, I don't know, SMIM to overwrite, the old Skyrim HD2K, and then you want, some mountain mod to overwrite SMIM, but then you want something else to overwrite pieces of that mountain mod that you don't want to use, and then the next thing you want to overwrite is a grass mod, and you want that next because you want to overwrite a few pieces of the last mod. So again, I ask, so how does Vortex keep asking you questions about that, or?
Yeah, so you get the little lightning bolt, it'll be
Okay.
red for the two mods that are trying to modify the same file.
Okay.
And so then you tell it, which one. Surprisingly, very few. So now I don't use the EFX, and I don't use the Sky Mills.
Okay.
But I do use the other mods, and it handles the order.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it would handle Skyfalls and Skymill. I can't play without that. I like to see my waterfalls moving in the distance.
Yeah.
And it just drives me crazy when I look at this sort of little cartoon pictures way off in the distance and they're not animated. All right. And when you have your mod list, can you drill down like you can in Mod Organizer and see the file tree and see what's conflicting with what, if you want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and it will, and if there's something that you specifically want to make sure that it addresses, you can connect two mods together and tell it which files you want.
Right.
For which one.
Yeah. By the way, Michelle, I believe that if you do the installs correctly, you can use all three mod managers concurrently. You just have to make sure that you keep them fenced off reasonably well. So yes, I don't think you have to delete Nexus Mod Manager in order to use Vortex. You certainly don't have to delete it to use Mod Organizer. I use both.
Yeah, you don't, because I have Nexus Mod Manager running too.
Yeah, you can use both. So you just need to be careful of. That's one reason why I've gone to manual downloads for everything. I don't use the download to manager button on Nexus at all.
Me neither. Just
manual downloads and then put them where I want, put the mods where I want them.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah, that's the only thing I think that really will conflict if you try to use multiple mod managers. You'll run into trouble with that. So just default to manually downloading all your mods. And I mean, I have both Mod Organizer 1.3.11 and Mod Organizer 2.1.3 running as well, because I use the version 2 for Skyrim SE and I use the old version for Legacy, and those coexist reasonably well as long as you don't try to run them both at the same time, because they won't.
And I had one quirky thing happen. So I had when I started the Bard, I started a new profile, and assigned it its own save files, and played for a couple hours and then quit. And when I went back, it prompted me to start a new game. And so I went and looked, and there were no save files associated with that profile. So I started poking around. I looked back at the profile that I had loaded previously, and the Bard saves were in there. But all I had to do is go back to my Bard profile and click import save files, and it asks you, well, here's all your save files. Which ones do you want to move over here? And I clicked on that Bard, and boom, everything moved over. Yeah. And it already had the mod list associated with the save files. And so it just fired right up.
That's cool. That's one of the annoying things about sort of the new, and Bethesda sort of brought this out with Fallout 4 is this sort of the new paradigm for handling saves where they're all in one big pool, you sort of rely on the game to curate your characters for you, whereas Mod Organizer with its profiles did that very differently. So in the new version of Mod Organizer, you have to be very careful when you're setting it up for anybody who wants to use it for SE to get your directory paths correct. And that's the same kind of thing that you were just talking about with Vortex. So you have to curate your directory paths carefully. And I don't know if Vortex has the same, since it's the same author as Mod Organizer. Tannen developed it, so I assume it has some similar history. I mean, does it have a local saves checkbox and stuff like that, so you can have saves pinned to each profile? Yeah. So and Michelle was asking, how does the game know if it should run NMM Vortex before starting the game? And I said, well, it doesn't. You tell it. The game doesn't know one way or the other. You run the game from inside the mod manager. Yeah. So whatever mod manager you have open, particularly if you're using SKSE, which everybody should be using, right? You're all using SKSE, right? Okay, good. Now that we've established that. So you're running the SKSE launcher from inside whatever mod manager you're using.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of an adventure because when I got back from Dragoncon, that Monday, like, okay, I got a couple hours. I'll decompress playing a little Skyrim. So hopped on, fired it up, and got the message. Oh, you're using a newer version of Skyrim than you are SKSE. I'm like, crap. Okay, well, it's been a couple of days since they put out the update, so I'm sure SKSE is updated.
Yes, it is, because I just did it. Yeah,
and it wasn't.
Oh no!
On Monday, it wasn't updated, God. And so like, okay, I don't have time to deal with this now. So the next day, still not updated. Okay, this is not going to fly. So I started pecking around in Reddit and found some instructions for using the Steam console to find a previous version of the Skyrim EXE. So typed in all the codes and, the giant long strings of numbers, and up pops this little Skyrim EXE. I copy it over to my file and fire it up. Works like a charm.
Nice.
Nice.
Super simple.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably Wednesday or Thursday that the SKSE got updated. So I grabbed the latest one and then went into, because I had turned off updates on Steam, because I thought, okay, I should have done this a long time ago, but didn't.
Yeah.
So then I couldn't get Steam to update Skyrim to the newest level.
Oh no.
So back into Reddit and found a file that'll give you the Steam codes for all of the various versions of Skyrim. Plugged in the new one into the console. Boom! Up came the EXE. Loaded it up. Everything's running great.
Nice. Yeah, that's why I keep my Steam set to only update when you run the game, and then I always run it from the SKSE launcher, which Steam does not detect.
Right.
So as long as you run it through your mod manager using SKSE, Steam won't detect it, and it won't update the game. So.
Yeah, so I've always skated by, so I've never really gone to the trouble of, digging in and making the change.
Yeah. Whenever that happens to me, I just sort of go watch movies for a day or two until that Silverlock gets the thing updated. But yeah, you're right. It was the holiday, I guess because they're usually very good about it.
I mean,
the last time Fallout got updated, it was less than 24 hours they had the update out.
Oh wow!
Well, and Fallout gets updated every other week.
Yeah.
with all they hadn't done any new Creation Club content for Skyrim for a long time, and so there hadn't been an update.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't even looked at the Creation Club for Skyrim. God.
Yeah, they came out with some new stuff recently. I saw a video about it, but I haven't. I've never used it, so I just won't.
Yeah, I think one of them was a player home that Eleonora made
Yes.
for a mage character.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw she's been working with them for a while. I think they have some other famous modders working on stuff for them too. Arthmore, perhaps. But
a philosophical objection here, Victor. Is this what this is about?
What's that? You're philosophical? No, I just have I have just no interest in Creation Club. There's so much more and better stuff available elsewhere. I just don't even bother with it. Maybe in a year or so there'll be really good stuff. I mean, the tantalizing thing about Creation Club is supposedly it's sort of agnostic. You can use it or not, and it won't affect your load order or your mods or anything else you're using. It's supposedly perfectly curated, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, I've never experienced that, so I don't know. I haven't tried. Because I'm a mod organizer user, I don't want to pollute my game directory.
True. Yeah.
With anything else, because mod organizer, that's the whole paradigm of mod organizer. It does not mess with your base game directory. It does everything outside of that in virtual directories, and so that's what makes it so powerful. So I don't want to mess with even with Creation Club.
Yeah.
So I just leave it alone.
So the interesting thing is all the assets for Creation Club are already in your game, because every time there's an update, that's what they're updating.
So they're just loading it in there. Okay, so you just have to trigger them.
Textures and all that. Yeah. So then you have to when you buy the mod, it activates the.
Okay. That's cool.
I don't know if they're ESLs or ESMs, but it's something like that activates the mod.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's already there anyway. It's just a matter of it being.
Just not
and that's how they. So that's how they work around the Sony restrictions, and can provide mods to PlayStation players
because
it's
part of the game.
Yeah.
And
so it's considered vanilla assets. So they're likely to be ESMs then, because they don't count against the plugin count.
Yeah,
they're ESMs. Yeah,
that makes sense, because then they don't have to worry about that with Sony. Yeah.
Actually, ESLs in the case of special edition, right? Interesting. Well, maybe I'll have to go in and trigger one of them and see what happens. If my computer explodes, then oops! I just activated Alexa by mistake.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Well, I renamed her the COMPUTER word instead of Alexa.
Yeah. So that's it. It's a good idea. Although
not when you say computer.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, but it's a more fun way of talking to Alexa, just not when you're talking about actual computers.
That's right. Yeah.
Then it creates a bit of an issue. But other than that, it's a more fun way to do it.
Yeah. So there's a ton more mods, but I'm not even going to talk about them all. There's a whole bunch of new texture mods that came out both for Legacy and SE recently. But I would encourage everybody to go look on the Nexus and see what all kinds of cool stuff in the last 30 days. Lots of amazing good stuff.
Yeah, so I heard an interesting interview with one of the developers for the Beyond Skyrim group. And try as they might, the interviewers couldn't get him to spill on a date for the Cyrodiil.
Yeah.
But one thing he did say was that the Bruma release was not a finished work. And so they've also, when they release the Cyrodiil mod, it will include Bruma.
Oh, wow.
And have all new, well, not all new, a bunch of new content, for Bruma, as well as the whole Cyrodiil.
Wow.
But it'll be the complete Bruma mod embedded in the Cyrodiil one? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh,
so it'll be everything that's in Bruma right now, plus all the stuff that they had originally wanted to, but didn't have time to before they, got a release out. They didn't want to be those guys that, talked about it but never released. And so, they got as much as they could done and released it, and then then started working on Cyrodiil.
No, see, they missed their chance to have a series of DLCs to keep up the hype about their mod. They totally missed it. They missed an opportunity.
And in that vein, by the way, that just triggered another little memory for me. Let's see if I can quickly find the author of Legacy of the Dragonborn, Ice Cream Assassin, is working on a new big project. So anybody who's a fan of Legacy of the Dragonborn, as I am, it's amazing, huge and beautifully done. He's working on it's basically a sort of a DLC sized land extension of the story of the Legacy of the Dragonborn. So another something to look forward to. Zarek Zahakaran, one of my favorite YouTubers because he's so quirky and strange.
The guy wears a tie.
He's awesome.
Does
he's
he?
like uber geek. I love him. Yes, he wears a suit and a tie for all of his videos.
Very nice.
He could just turn off his webcam and save himself $400.
No, he's awesome. Have you ever watched him, Steven?
No, I'm good. Google him now.
He's a stitch. But yeah, he put out a video about it last week sometime, I think. So go check that out if you're into Legacy of the Dragonborn. There's something to look forward to as well, because it'll probably be out before Cyrodiil.
Yeah.
I think I'll be dead before Cyrodiil comes out.
I don't know. And so they also are considering just releasing part of Cyrodiil.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Kvatch and what's the city that starts with an A that's nearby?
Anvil.
Anvil, yeah. So that could happen too. Because it is, it's a pretty big undertaking.
Yeah. That's a lot of a map right there.
Yeah, but they're definitely dedicated to, to actually releasing stuff.
Yeah,
and not, trying to be too much that you never get done.
Yeah, it's nice they don't overpromise.
Yeah. No, I have no doubt. It's just so, these things are so ambitious and so huge.
Mm-hmm. Like Skyblivion and
yes, yeah.
But it's it was on the podcast with Noctium and Chris Takahashi. They've had a really good series. They were really quiet for a long time, and then all of a sudden they just started popping episodes, and they've had some interesting people on.
Yeah, I've been meaning to listen to that. I just haven't.
Yeah.
So I will. Well, cool. That's a lot of mod stuff to talk about.
Yes. Has been it's been a month just since the last one, but it's probably been a month and a half since we've all recorded.
Yeah.
I think at least. It was probably July sometime.
I just continue to be excited and amazed at all the stuff that keeps coming out for this game. So it's a lot of fun to just sort of get together and talk about it once a month or so. And
yeah.
There must be 20 or 30 more mods that I haven't mentioned that are that have just popped up in the last few weeks. Jewelry of Power is another one. They just keep coming. It's amazing.
That's fantastic, though. The life that the game has.
Yeah. So yeah, hobo robes, enchanted and craftable beggars rags for role playing.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
It's very cool. Yeah.
That very much changes Robbed and Left 4 Dead, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly, Stephen. That's exactly what I was thinking. Perfect. It's
Great
a perfect.
minds.
Yeah.
Great minds.
No, it's perfect
That's
for
a good idea.
for that alternate start. Speaking of alternate starts, by the way, and just sort of looping back to Belmont Boy briefly, he is incorporating Skyrim Unbound into his Ultimate Skyrim build rather than alternate start, which is a really great alternate start mod on its own. So yeah,
I've got to play around with that one a little bit more.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. I love being in a world in which the Dragonborn does not exist.
I swear to God, that's become more fun for me.
It is. It's
great. I mean, there's something about being able to shout every once in a while. You want to just run a character through and learn a few shouts and have some fun, right? But there's something so appealing about that. I don't know what it is, but it's sort of like it epitomizes the sandbox aspect of the game, right? That like I can, I am not bound. I am unbound to the main quest in this sense, right? That
exactly.
And it's funny because you would think that would diminish the game in some way. Right? That, it's epic. There should be dragons. You're doing these fantastic world things. But whether you're playing a big game or a small game, a big idea for your character, a small idea, whatever. Yeah, there's something about being able to do that. Like I would say that 90% of my characters now, I just start off a default save that I have that lets me play without dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a way of treating the game and looking at the game in a different way, and sort of realizing exactly what Skyrim really is. It isn't just Skyrim. It's a sort of an entity unto itself, and a mod like Unbound makes it even more so. It just creates a world that you can do whatever the hell you want inside, and you don't have to worry about any kind of overarching quest lines.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is it, right? Like, I mean, it takes what is arguably an MMO, like, I mean, especially with extra mods that add extra maps, stuff like that. But like, it's that sense of an MMO, right? But there are no rails.
Yeah.
At that point, right? And that to me is just like that sets off more fireworks in my head. Just knowing that that's possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. And because it is sort of the last vestige, right? I mean, all the other games that and many of them we love. I mean, The Witcher, all these other games which call themselves RPGs and really aren't. They're sort of character playing games. They're not real role playing games. Skyrim is kind of the only real free and open role playing game. And even it has that overarching quest. And when you eliminate that, now you've opened it up. It's completely a blank slate.
And now let's flip that on its head for a second. Do that for a year or two. Be Victor, download 300 mods, tweak the game any number of ways that you want. Well, whatever, 3, 4, 5, in the thousands, whatever it is. But I mean, just because you don't clean up your bedroom isn't my problem. I mean,
hey,
you're not using all of them, I'm sure.
I told you that in confidence.
But what I'm getting at is like, so flip that on the head for a second. Like, we're talking about the joy of being able to truly sandbox Skyrim. But then when you make that choice to play a straight up main quest game, are the dragons not epic again? Because you're not. Yeah,
because you're not. Yeah.
All the time, like they're not a stumbling block. They're not tedious anymore. Yep. They're not this thing in your ear sort of bugging you, and you're trying to avoid so. Like when you play for a year without a dragon and one of those fuckers comes right down out of the sky at you to watch, like it's like it brings back like the first sensation of playing Skyrim where you're in awe, and then you're on fire because you were in awe. But
it's even more than that, because if you've played it, if you played the game for a long time without dragons, you forget to watch out for them.
Yeah, so, that too.
It's a whole different game again, right?
Yeah.
So, where you would normally just be, trotting down the road, no big deal. All of a sudden now you're running for your life because this guy's, trying to toast you. And
I had an awesome experience with that, playing one of the Character Crusade things. I played their Unbound, the first one, completely without dragons. He was a Khajiit character, and then my next character, I let the dragons spawn, but they hadn't really sort of intruded on my gameplay yet. And I was running down, I think it was a road in Riften, and a dragon shadow passed over me.
Oh.
And it was like,
wow.
It was awesome. It was such an awesome experience. I thought, like, what the fuck was that? And then I thought, oh my God, it was a dragon. Yeah, it was great. It was so perfect.
But like that's what your character would be doing, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
It gives it a
absolutely.
sense of immediacy again. Or
Yeah.
I also like, again, not to flog this horse for too long, but I like the idea of having that option to on-off dragons, i.e. the main quest. But then this is something that you can add into your role play. You can add into your character concept because it isn't anymore a perennial element. It's not a permanent element of the game anymore. So you're making a conscious choice to play with dragons. And what do I want to make out of a character that's in a world where now I can explore the Thune? Now I'm facing these epic ancient creatures. So I feel like being forced to always have it in there trivializes it. But when you can flip it on and off, it's just this extra fascinating tool in your character creation box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something I think Stu at Character Crusade talks about a lot, and that is intent. And he's 100% right. You know, when you're creating a character, intent is D&D as well. It's very important. You have to really have some kind of idea of where you're going. It's nice to let the game and the world sort of happen around you and inspire you to make a left or a right here or there, but intent at the beginning is very important, and that's exactly what you're talking about.
I feel like intent is how I want to move my character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, interactions with the game is who they are once I've gotten them there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the random events or whatever, like something as simple as like who got killed by a vampire. How does that impact your character? So on and so forth, right? So I very much agree with you there, but again, I like the synergy of I can imagine them mechanically, perhaps, but it's they're a different person at the end, based on what I've experienced. That's something that he's talked about too. Is just how do you take something that you either know the game's going to provide, or you at least know the potential for the game to provide, and fold that into your story. And I say, like, how does it impact your character? How does it impact you? So on and so forth.
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits of Unbound is that you can control what, when or if the dragons come into the game. If you want to postpone them until level 30, you can do that in the settings. One of the things I always play with alternate start because it's just, I just want that control. But I hate the fact that I can never go to Helgen. Because I know if I go to Helgen, Alduin's going to be there.
Yeah.
So. Do you have favorites in alternate start? Like, do you have sort of common opening moves or whatever, for lack of a better term?
No, it's 100% based on what my character is going to be doing.
Yeah.
So, like, this bard character started at the inn. Shoot, I don't even remember what city it might have been. Dragonbridge. But it's always somewhere different for me, depending on who the character is and where I want them to end up.
Is there a mod that expands Dragonbridge in some way? I always feel like it's like the least appreciated place in Skyrim. Like every time I go through it, I'm like, this place is awesome. And then I immediately forget about Dragonbridge unless there's a quest. But I feel like if you just fleshed it out a little bit, added a few more services,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, if I had a little more there.
I don't know. It looks nice. I like the way it's sort of laid out. The Empire presence is interesting, but not overwhelming, like in Solitude. And, I don't know, just again, and the bridge is cool, but there's just something about it. And it's in a nice spot on the map too, I think. It's a good crossroads. But.
Yeah, that it is. Yeah. And you would think with a bridge that ornate,
Yeah, the city would be bigger.
Yeah, the city would be more than 4 houses or whatever it is.
Well, they
At the
promised
very
at
least, couldn't they have a
flat
blacksmith?
tax rate not to be increased. Therefore, they spent all their money on the bridge.
Yeah, they
and
spent
now
all
there's no money for like infrastructure and essential services anymore. So,
There's several good mods for that, by the way.
well, that's what I was asking. Is just that have sort of embiggened Dragon Bridge or whatever.
Yeah, Adam said expanded towns and cities adds a bit to Dragon.
Oh yeah, there
It
we go.
does, although she has pretty much deprecated the original ETAC and in favor of the new one. I think Adam, I can't remember, her new version of ETAC has 3 towns: Darkwater Crossing and Riverwood, and it might be Dragon Bridge. I don't remember. Of the 3, she's working on a complete rebuild of it. But there's a really great Clef J is another excellent modder who does little town and city rebuilds. He's got a good Dragon Bridge mod. Another new one came out recently. There's a new series called The Great City of Blank. There's the mod author has done Falkreath and Morthal and several others, and I think Dragon Bridge might be one of those as well. So there's a ton of them.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be it's a nice place to have a home, but you can't really do that there.
Yeah.
This is not enough to sustain your character here.
Well, it's where the Penitentius Oculatus headquarters is there. I mean, it's
okay. So one character can feel at home. One character concept. Maybe 2 if you're a trader, but
yeah.
No, appreciate that. I sketched those down when we were talking. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a few more too, but there was one very recent one that just came out. So I can't look for it now.
That's all right.
I gotta go soon. So.
All right. Well, we've had some very deep mod talk.
Yeah, totally.
It's awesome. So, and I got to schedule a Oblivion Roundtable. That'll probably, hopefully, maybe be next. I don't know. We'll see. See how the schedule goes. See about that. If not, it'll probably be after this. It'll be some lost episodes. It's been a little while.
Those are fun. I had a lot of fun listening to those.
Yeah, I have fun when I go through them and edit them up and all that. Yeah.
Imagine this show was 7 minutes long once.
Oh my god! Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's as I get to the later ones, it's like, oh, this one's not 9 minutes. This one.
That's just good memories, especially listening to that episode you posted recently with Andrew.
Yeah, that was one of Andrew's early appearances, right?
Yeah.
That was good.
Complete with crappy audio and everything.
Yes.
It was awesome. It was
I am
great.
very scared of when I get to the first roundtables. I got to admit.
Yeah, some of those were a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, we were. I think we were just learning how to have so many people on at once, and it was, it was getting, it got a little rough. So I'm gonna have to go through those a little more.
Well, there was one episode which you may well remember, Michael, that probably should never be re-aired. It had several unusual and never to be repeated guests on it. I don't remember exactly when that was. I was still living at Sovereign Way, so it's at least 4 or 5 years ago now. So if you come across that episode, delete it.
Wow, I'll have to remember. I don't even remember what one that was. I wonder if Andrew remembers. I'll have to ask him. Yeah. Oh, was that when ones popped up in the chat?
Or... we had 2 or 3 guest appearances, people that I've never seen since.
That came on audio wise.
Yeah, audio and video too. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, how'd they get access to the Hangout? That's weird.
Yeah, I don't remember.
We'll blame it on Andy.
We let them in. I think it was after that episode that we posted some
rules and stuff.
Dogs barking in the background and It was a mess.
Yeah, we'll blame.
It was fun, but it was a mess.
Yeah, we'll blame Andrew. He's on vacation, so we'll blame.
Yeah, he organizes all this stuff, anyways. We know the truth, Michael.
This was a long time ago.
I now do remember that as.
I remember doing some from my hotel rooms too.
Yeah. I remember the dog barking stuff specifically. I remember talking about that, and then the rules coming down after that. Yeah, I had a whole episode where I redlined the audio the whole time, me talking, and I went and re-listened, and I'm like, oh god, was like, oh, let me try and fix this.
Yeah.
Just passion for the game, Michael.
Yeah, I was
Passion for
just
the game. You're so excited.
I was
for what
super
your blacksmith
excited,
is doing.
and I just kept yelling into the mic.
I've done that a few times on live streams and stuff. Just something awesome happens, and or you've got someone in the chat that's really engaging with you, and then all of a sudden, just you just go over the top. Baby. Just over the top.
Yeah, no, it was not Andrew's dog. It was either. It was, but well, thank Adam, Michelle. Who else was? Oh, Frater was in the chat for a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for joining. Of course, Stephen, we can find you skyrimbookclub.ca.
Yes, sir.
And
youtube.com/skyrimbookclub.
Mm-hmm. And the
Arcanium edition,
yes.
if you want. One brief technical note, not to bore people, but despite the fact the show sort of isn't updating anymore, I've been having a little trouble with Skyrim Book Club. iTunes is fighting with me a little bit about it right now. So yeah, if you've subscribed, everything's still there. If someone new is going to hunt for it, go to skyrimbookclub.ca, just sort of search
through
there for now. Mm-hmm. By the time we're probably back talking again, I'll have that sorted out.
It'll be sorted out.
Yeah. And I'm really going to, in earnest, start the migration to YouTube, I think. I got about 6 months of GoDaddy left.
Okay.
They're the laggard in this situation, to be frank. So I may ultimately just work towards that sort of being where it is. And
that's a good idea.
Then just find another way to provide the audio. Like, again, not to bore people with details, but I put enough money into GoDaddy. I can put that into a proper, like, dedicated podcast hosting company.
Yeah.
Squarespace.
Squarespace. Sorry?
Squarespace.
Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying I'm not even sure I need a website, right? Like, you guys are kind to let me plug it every time, but I average would be 40 people a day to the site itself versus the downloads and stuff that come through the podcast. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I think there are a number of ways to provide the content
without that.
Anyways, that's all nuts and bolts behind the scenes story, but just anybody who's looking for it, it should work if you're still subscribed. If you're not, just come see me at the website, hang out. I got videos and stuff there too. So
there you go. Perfect. And Victor, have we gotten to was it 50 yet on YouTube?
I don't know.
I keep making new accounts. I got like 12 email addresses with Gmail now, buddy. I'm trying for you, mister.
The open world. Is that?
Yeah. Oh, I'm over 50 on that, but
can't you do? You can do the thing now, though, right?
No, you got to be 100.
Is it 100? God damn it. So people go subscribe, please.
I think I have 60 something subscribers. I haven't put anything up there in weeks and weeks. So, but winter's coming.
It's because you don't have the vanity URL. That's why. If you did,
see that should be ominous. Like, Victor's the only guy that I applaud for to hear winter's coming, because he comes back in from his hiking, takes off his fancy shoes, and he actually plays the damn game and entertains me a little bit.
Yeah. As soon as the light starts getting shorter, when I leave work and it's getting dark, and I can't hike. That's when I.
Yeah, it's dark in the mornings now, so I'm not super thrilled about that. But
you e-hike. You just do it in Skyrim instead. You just
I'll pop a vitamin D and sit down at the computer.
There you go.
What's your best time on the 7,000 steps? If you got a personal best you're trying to beat this year?
Actually, we have
the ultra of Skyrim, right? That's what that is.
That's it.
Yeah, we have our own version of the 7,000 steps here called Breakneck Ridge. Yeah, it's right across the river from where I live.
Nice.
Ray, where can we find you if you have anything?
Fallout feed.
That's true. Well, yeah, Fallout feed, of course. Yeah.
So,
although we're not plugging that
anybody
tonight.
Wants to listen to a massive train wreck? Tune in tomorrow night.
Yes, live recording tomorrow night. Yeah. Whatever happens, just blame Andrew. That's
so he's on vacation, so I'm kind of exposed.
I'll hop on YouTube and heckle.
There you go. And you guys are what, 9 o'clock usually?
10
o'clock. Woof.
Yeah.
I will be asleep.
Well, so will I, actually.
Yeah. Oh gosh. All right, everyone. Thank you all for listening, and stay tuned for whatever show comes on the feed next. Lost Episodes, Oblivion, whatever it is. See ya.
Thanks all.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, guys. Always great.